The palace shimmered under a canopy of stars. Inside the grand hall, a feast was underway. King Xerxes, ruler of Persia, sat upon his throne. He was a man of great power and even greater pride. Beside him, adorned in jewels and finery, sat his beloved Queen Esther. Her heart pounded with a mixture of fear and determination. The air crackled with unspoken tension. Haman, the king's advisor, basked in the warmth of the king's favor. He believed his plan was foolproof. Soon the Jews, Esther's people, would be eradicated. He savored the thought, unaware of the storm brewing beneath the surface of the opulent celebration. A web of deceit had been woven, but tonight the threads would unravel. The scent of roasted lamb and exotic spices filled the air, but the feast held no joy for Esther. She knew this was her chance. The fate of her people rested on her shoulders. She had to act, and she had to act now.
My queen, what is your heart's desire tonight? Ask, and it shall be yours, even to half my kingdom.
His voice boomed through the hall, echoing his generosity. Esther's moment had arrived. She took a deep breath, her voice trembling slightly as she spoke.
If I have found favor in your sight, O king, grant me my life. This is my petition. And my people, spare them.
Her words hung in the air, shattering the festive atmosphere. Silence descended upon the hall. The courtiers held their breath, their eyes darting between the king and queen. Haman froze, a shiver running down his spine. The goblet slipped from his grasp, spilling wine onto the richly woven rug. He had not expected this.
Who would dare threaten my beloved queen and her people? Tell me, who is this enemy that threatens my kingdom?
King Xerxes was astonished. With trembling hands, Esther pointed at Haman.
This wicked man Haman is our enemy. He has plotted to destroy me and my people.
The words tumbled from her lips, each one a nail in Haman's coffin. The weight of her accusation hung heavy in the air. Haman, his face drained of all color, stammered, unable to form a coherent defense. The king, his trust betrayed, glared at his advisor, his anger growing with each passing moment. Haman, his carefully crafted world crumbling around him, fell to his knees. Fear choked his voice. He stammered, trying to explain, to justify his actions, but the words wouldn't come. The king's fury was palpable. He had miscalculated. He had underestimated the bond between Xerxes and Esther. Now he was trapped, caught in his own web of deceit. Desperation clawed at him. He had to find a way out, but there was none. The banquet hall, once filled with laughter and music, was now heavy with dread. The scent of impending doom replaced the aroma of spices and wine. Haman's pleas for mercy were lost in the silence that had descended upon the room.
Mercy, my queen, mercy!
In a last-ditch effort to save himself, Haman crawled towards the queen, clutching at the hem of her robe.
What? Would you dare assault the queen in my own palace?
Seeing Haman at his wife's feet, the king misinterpreted the gesture. Rage consumed him, his voice shaking the very foundations of the hall. This misunderstanding sealed Haman's fate. The king saw only an act of aggression, a confirmation of Haman's wickedness. Any hope Haman had of redemption vanished in that instant. The king's fury was absolute.
Seize him!
The king rose from his throne, his face contorted with rage. The guards, sensing the king's fury, moved with swift precision. They dragged Haman away from the queen, his pleas for mercy echoing through the silent hall. The king's justice was swift and merciless. He had been betrayed by the one person he trusted most. Now he would ensure that betrayal was avenged. The punishment would fit the crime. The weight of his impending doom crushed Haman. His legs turned to water. The world spun as the guards dragged him from the banquet hall, his cries swallowed by the cold stone walls.
Narrator. Outside the palace walls, a towering gallows stood silhouetted against the moonlit sky. It had been built by Haman, intended for Mordecai, Esther's cousin. The irony was lost on no one.
Haman, his face ashen, his body trembling, was dragged towards the gallows. The sight of the structure, a grim reminder of his own wickedness, filled him with despair. He had built his own demise. The crowd, initially stunned into silence, erupted in anger. They had lived in fear of Haman's decree. Now they watched as the architect of their demise met his own justice. News of Haman's downfall spread like wildfire through the city. The Jewish community, hours earlier facing annihilation, erupted in celebration. Their queen had saved them. Music filled the streets, replacing the silence of fear. Dances of joy replaced the tears of sorrow. Esther's name was on every lip, a testament to her courage and her love for her people. The stars, once witnesses to their despair, now twinkled down on a scene of jubilation. Esther, her heart heavy with the burden of her actions, found solace in the joy of her people. The events of that night became a tale whispered through generations. Esther, the young queen who risked everything, became a symbol of courage and faith. Her story, a beacon of hope, reminded people that even in the darkest hour, one person's bravery can make a difference. The fall of Haman served as a stark reminder that pride comes before the fall. His thirst for power and his hatred had led him to his ruin. The gallows, meant for Mordecai, became his own final destination, a symbol of poetic justice. And so, the story of Esther's courageous stand against injustice continues to resonate throughout time, reminding us that even in the face of overwhelming odds, courage and faith can triumph over evil.